Hello, everyone. I'm talking to no one right now because no one's live, but welcome to our second session for the Minority Mental Health Month series. Today, I'm so excited to have my newest colleague and fellow staff member, Yasmin Santana, join our conversation. And she's going to request to be in. Hello, everyone. So good to see people. Okay, now welcoming to the stage, Yasmin Santana. Let's give her a warm welcome. 3, 2.
No. Hi. Hi. How are you?
Good. So excited to see you, Yasmin.
Yes, it's exciting to be here, and just thank you for the space to just let me share what my experience and the experiences of most of the people that I know and I come from. So I really appreciate it.
Of course. It's our honor not only to have you in this 30 minutes, but to have as our NAMI-SFV education coordinator, which I'd love for you to share a little bit about. But welcome, everyone. Let's just jump right in. So if anybody has some questions for Yasmin, you know what to do. Just drop them in the question box at the bottom, or you could send a chat and I'll try to keep an eye on that. But yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Yasmin Santana. I am the education coordinator here at NAMI. So a little bit of background, I graduated from CSUN with a BA in psychology. I transferred from a community college here in the Valley, LA Mission College, and I actually started my path trying to become a teacher. Didn't work out, felt like psychology was more my field. Once I was in CSUN, I then joined the Blues Project. Yay! Which is where everything really just snowballed from there. It was super exciting. I learned the most that I had ever learned about mental health while I was there. I really, really enjoyed being part of that group. It really validated some of my experiences that I've had and that I was going through. Yay, community college. And so I really, really did enjoy my time there. I felt at home. So, I mean, I can go on for the Blues, but anyway. So at NAMI, I'm the education coordinator, and I coordinate.
Education director.
Director. Oh, I'm so sorry. Correct. I am the director. I'm the education director, and at NAMI, and I coordinate the classes from peer-to-peer support to family support. And if you guys have any questions about it, please feel free to leave a question below. I'll do my best to answer right off the bat. I'm 2 weeks in, so it's exciting. Another thing, so I'm just like chilling. So another thing, so I joined NAMI because of the extent of programs that there are, and so it was really exciting to see just the education that everyone's bringing from NAMI to the community that I come from. So just a little background as to where I come from. I come from a city, I always like to tell people exactly where it is. And I come from Pacoima. It's a small town in the San Fernando Valley. And we see a wide range of social issues. We have poverty, it's often an immigrant pit stop, or just a stop after they've migrated from their home countries. So we see a lot of things that need to kind of change and become a little better. And so I was working gang intervention for a while, for a year. Yay, so I was working gang intervention for a long time, well, not too long, a year. And so while I was there, and from my own family experiences, I noticed the need for mental health education. It is pretty much the root of everything. So I felt the need to spread more education to the Spanish speaking community, which is why, again, I joined NAMI, to be able to bring the programs to my community. So that's a little bit of that. Yeah. And then interrupt me at any time, Yasmin, because I can talk forever.
I'm not Yasmin, you're Yasmin.
Yeah, Yasmin, you're Yasmin. It's so confusing. You're correct.
At NAMI, but I just want to pause you for a second. And first of all, like, there's so much love coming in the chats, which is great to see.
Hi, everyone.
And you've done so much. Like, there's so many pieces just in your little snippet of the journey that you've shared. And I'm just processing all of that. So thank you.
No, it's no problem.
No, thanks for sharing that. And I agree, there is a need for the Spanish speaking community. Like, even within NAMI-SFV, we need more Spanish resources, which is why it's great that you're here. And it's like, if anybody wants to get involved with us, send us a DM to this NAMI San Fernando Instagram, and we'll, like, teamwork really does make the dream work. So I can't emphasize enough how lucky we are to have you, because we need you.
No. I feel lucky to be here. I'm like, whoa. Sometimes I get overwhelmed, not with the job, but with the fact that I'm here and that I'm able to bring a voice to where I come from. So it's really exciting. Just overall.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you do you want to jump into your, like, a little bit of your personal story that led to all this passion for mental health awareness?
Yes. So it has a big, huge part of where I come from. Again, that's why I like to emphasize Pacoima. I did grow up in the surrounding areas as well. But growing up, I think Sandra, she brought up a really good point about generational trauma, and trying to heal your families and the families in the community. I thought it's a great idea, again, to focus on those traumas in order to heal and move forward. So that's basically a big part of my family in itself, everything that we've been through, and everything that not only my family in the community, we're not alone. And so multitudes of families. So I really appreciate being here again, and just being able to spread the word, spread healing. Sorry, I moved over a little bit. And again, just multitudes. I have my own personal story, my own personal narrative with mental health. A lot of it I was going through while I was in the Blues Project. And so again, that really helped in a lot of ways to navigate, because you learn so much. You know, you learn how to see the signs. And that's when I started saying, hey, you know, maybe I had this growing up, and maybe I had that growing up, and it just went unrecognized because the lack of resources, the lack of education, the stigmas that come with mental, issues. And so a lot of that growing up, it just didn't get cleared. And it took me through a process of, I think Sandra also said it yesterday or the day before, or Saturday, self-destructive tendencies that I had a lot of, and it broke a lot. And that's when I truly awakened. I think it was after, my kid is also when I truly just saw things in a whole different light as well. And being able to process what I had been through. And I felt that, again, just bringing resources and access to those resources. So yeah, that's kind of my personal story.
I'm just wondering, like, how does it feel to give voice to this and share this?
It feels like a lot of responsibility at the same time as being grateful that people are accepting of my help, of my support, being grateful of this opportunity. So I tried to just reiterate where I come from to myself, to remember, like, hey, this is why you're in it. Because sometimes when you're in social service, when you're doing these things, you get caught up with the work, you kind of forget. So the biggest motivating factor is my community and my family. I was raised by a village of women who, I was, mostly women, but let's give it to the women. I was raised with a majority of women who do social service work and who have been doing this for years. So seeing them motivated me to continue that cycle of helping others and supporting my families. So that's just like my personal narrative. Thank you. You're making this so easy.
Oh gosh, no, you're making it easy. Like it's just so empowering. It really is like the women. I feel like we women are just
It's in our nature to care. We're more inclined to. Men have it too. So let's give it to the guys. But yeah, women are totally we just have that instinct, you know. But it's 100%, you know, a community project for us to better ourselves and the people
mhm.
around us. So yeah.
Definitely, I have a bias towards women. So, but no, we need more males and men in these spaces, in these trainings, like
Exactly.
conversations. So shout out to all the men here too. But
Yes.
I hope that didn't offend anyone.
No, you're fine.
So
I think they get it.
yeah, we could talk after anyone if there's anything. I was hoping that, like, since it is like it, I was hoping that you could share a little bit about what you've noticed in your own Latinx culture when it comes to these conversations.
Yeah. So, as again, just to reiterate what Sandra said about generational trauma, it has to do a lot with that. I think our ancestors spent a lot of time trying to pave the way for us, and in that, they often forgot to take care of their mental health and their mental well-being because they're so focused of getting us to these paths. I am very privileged in a lot of ways because my mom, she paved the way for me, so I like to recognize the privilege that I have,
Mm-hmm.
in that sense, because not a lot of people have access to the way I had to things that I had access to because of the education. So, again, my mom was, in my experience, my mom was busy. My parents are teenage parents, so they were busy trying to raise a baby and get money, any way they could. My dad did immigrate from Mexico. And so he came here at a very young age. And again, just learning a whole new language, dealing with that. It's just, they were dealing with a lot. So they didn't have time to focus. So again, the generational trauma. Just, and a lot of times there's stigma and we downplay emotions. We downplay our feelings. It's like, don't be dramatic, no seas dramática, no seas, oh, it's all in your head, está todo en tu cabeza, things like that. A lot of, just suck it up, like we had to go through it, you have to suck it up. So it was a lot of that growing up. And unfortunately, it led again to, it leads to unrecognizable symptoms, or it leads to just a cycle of things. So that's kind of, again, like a little bit of background, not too much. Again, this is personal, so if anybody else has a different, situation or experience, I'd love to know about it too, because I want to learn more. And so we also avoid the situation altogether, the subject altogether. Some, like, those comments, just like, you're being dramatic, you go to your room. Oh yeah, échale ganas is also very, very common. Like, just keep going. Like, just keep going. But so yeah, we just avoid the topic because it's a hard topic. It's very hard to face your emotions, and you learn that when you're in therapy as well. You have to work through the pain to get to the end of the, the tunnel, right? So we learned a lot about that as well. We talk about that. A lot of the community that I come from is underserved, right? So I see people putting the sayings that they hear a lot, and I really appreciate it because that's like, I'm not alone. Yes, that's what I heard. So we don't have access to a lot of resources around here. We don't have access to sometimes even medical care, right? A lot of it growing up in the 90s, primarily it was lack of resources. Now though, we're seeing more and more, so it's really nice to see more and more people get involved, and more people start speaking up as social issues start to get more prevalent, and things like that. So I really appreciate people stepping up now, and people like us, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So, and then again, stop me at any time.
No, I just think that I like how you focused on, like, you brought it back to the hope piece, because it's easy for people of color, like, regardless of which community we're from, to fall into that downward spiral of, like, all the inequities and injustices. But it slowly but surely, with each person's voice being shared and advocating, like, change is happening. So it reminds me of, like, the starfish story. I don't know if you've heard it, but when one day, like, there's a child, like, throwing starfish from the sand into the ocean, and some, like, older person came to him and was like, oh, like, why are you throwing these starfish into the ocean? Like, there's too many of them, like, you can't, like, help them all. And he said something like, well, it made a difference to that one, the one that he threw. And that's how I kind of see this as well, where that every single person who does get help or takes that step, it makes a difference for our world.
Yeah, so, it just takes one.
It just takes one.
So it's really good that, you know, not just you and I, but I see a lot of people, especially your guest speakers that you're having, which is great to see everything unfold and be witness to this movement that's going on. So it's just amazing. Feel so much love.
Look at all those hearts.
Oh, just in general.
It's great. And I'm going to save this other question for when we do the Q&A, because I want you to be able to continue a few other things. Did you want to talk about some of the statements that you shared with yourself to kind of help normalize them?
So a big way we can move that change to actually talk about to actually remove the stigma is we start with yourself a little bit, you know. Say, hey, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm gonna get through this. My diagnosis doesn't define me. And I learned that in the Blues Project. So my diagnosis does not define me. I repeated that so many times to myself, and I like to repeat it to other people as well. Like, this isn't your thing. Like, this is just like a little addition to you. This is just like a little extra thing, you know, like everyone has their niche. This is yours, right? So it's like, so that was something that I had to repeat to myself, and unlearning a lot of the things that I learned, because even sometimes I used to use really just, you know, the term crazy, the term wild, the term dramatic. I would use it to myself, you know. I would say about myself, like, I'm just being crazy, like, I need to get over this, you know, things like that. So it's hard to unlearn what you grew up with a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of just a tad bit of what I tell myself and what I've told myself in the past. And if anybody's watching and they're going that, just remember that you're not your diagnosis, and it doesn't mean anything. It's just a little thing on a paper.
So yeah, it's like we're a person first. Like, the language we use is so important. And I mean, I can relate to what you're saying. Like, for most of my life, thinking that there was something wrong with me, like, I'm too emotional, I'm too sensitive, like, I'm broken. But it's like conversations like these remind me that, wait, we're all in this together, and it's we can't stay in the silence. And I don't know about you, like, have you experienced, because, like, for me, I find, like, this double standard where if somebody else reaches out to me and they're vulnerable, I'm just like, oh, you're so courageous and brave. But when I'm in the, like, when I'm at rock bottom, I'm just like, what's wrong with me?
Yes. I have. I tend to, I'm also a Virgo. So I feel like side note. So I feel like we tend to super tangent, but I feel like we tend to like, you know, we wear our heart on our sleeves, people like us, and so it's easy for us to understand and be empathetic to others. And when people turn around and are kind of not there, I've learned to be a little bit more assertive without being, you know, rude, like being upfront, more bold with my statements. I'll text my friends like, hey, I need friend time. You know, like I need you now. Or I think we've developed with my long-term friends, we've developed a certain quote, like just in general, like, hey, do you want to hike? You know, do you want to do this? Are you home? You know, things that it's like, you know, you can't give them, they can't give you the runaround. They know my secrets now. But things that they can't give you the runaround, and I learned that, and it takes a lot to learn that. It's not easy to be when you're in that when you're in our situation. It's not easy. But yes, I have been through that, and I'm sorry you have. But now you have me, and you can text me whenever.
Oh, yeah, no, and it's like even the 20 people like who are live with us right now, there's like comments coming in, and it's just so it's amazing how we need these reminders. Rationally, we may know, like,
Yeah.
my education was in counseling, but yet here I am still struggling.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it's a lifelong process, and we're never going to really arrive to this like perfect mental health.
Yeah.
But I really liked how you said something about what you needed, because I think such a simple tool is like, what do I need right now? Maybe it is that friend time. Maybe it's a nap, because sleep can really make us, can really shift things in our brain too. So
Self-care, definitely.
yes, and oh my gosh, so many people are sending in questions. So before we go into their awesome questions, I know you had some things that you wanted to share for anyone who's a little bit hesitant about seeking help for mental health.
Yes. So my first one is a big one. Reach out, seek help, seek support. I like to say support because again, there's that stigma with help. So reach out for support, and when you're ready, do it when you're ready, and don't do it anytime sooner. I feel like it took me to be like, I'm ready for this. Like, I can't do this. I can't keep doing this anymore. I can't keep I can't keep losing people anymore. Right. So I did that for myself. And I think if you're not ready, you're not ready, and it's fine. Share what you feel comfortable with. And not everyone needs to know your business. I didn't tell people when I started seeking help. I was just doing it, you know, because it could be a lot for some people. Another thing is, if you don't know what therapy is like, you can research different places, research different things, or we can obviously help you here at NAMI. If and when you're ready, reach out, and also surround yourself with people. It's one thing I tell you in therapy is healing is going to be rough, right? And I said it earlier. You have to go through that pain to get past everything. So when you are healing, when you are doing this process, make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who support you, trust and love you, and are going to be there to answer the phone at 2 a.m., right? Because you're going to need it. And I'm maybe not, you know, just again, speaking from personal experience, but I know I needed it, right? So I needed someone to be there for me at 2 a.m. So just be there. Make sure they're there, right? Another thing that leads to the full process of healing, I feel, is therapy, self-care, and self-care can come in many different ways, right? It could be napping, it could be hiking, it could be just coloring. And if you need medication, take your medication, you know? Those three things will make the process not easier, because it's not always easier, but it'll be gentle. And surround yourself with people who love you. So those are just a couple of things.
Yeah, no, those are really helpful. And yeah, like honestly, anyone who's listening, please, like, we know that things are sometimes it's very individualized based on your own experiences, but like at NAMI, we're here to help you with your own unique situation, and everything we provide is free of cost. Like the services Yasmin coordinates, like virtual support groups, virtual classes for family members, for individuals who themselves are who have a mental illness. We're here for you. And even if you're not in San Fernando Valley, there's like hundreds of affiliates for NAMI all around the country. So just wanted to throw that in there, because some people don't know about NAMI.
No, it's no, especially not to where we're like the community that we're serving. I believe it's because it's primarily Spanish speaking, and you know, we're working on it. So we're bringing this education in Spanish and to underserved community, and it's great. So I think the more we do our job and the more we spread, the more people will learn about it and will welcome it.
Yeah, definitely. One moment. So much is coming in. Oh, so many validating people on this call. Let's see. There was something I lost. Okay. Someone said find the right therapist for you. Yes, that's very important. Okay. Any tips for unlearning faulty coping mechanisms that have been passed down?
I think what I have done is educating and reflecting, educating myself on different ways that other people have handled situations. I think one big one is anger. That's a big one, especially because in our culture, it's easier to show anger than sadness. So what I did was educate on other ways, educate myself, or in therapy, I talked about it. I was very upfront. I was like, this is what I need to work on, and this is how I did it, right? So different ways to cope with your anger. There's a triangle, and you say, okay, this is what it's a cognitive triangle. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but you say your action, what's going on, you know, the feeling, and what you can do. And it takes a while, right, to get used to it. So practice this triangle. You can look it up. I can leave like a link or something in the comments of the cognitive triangle. It's on Pinterest too. Like it's really gratifying to see what yourself learning about the triangle, because again, you reflect on that, and it doesn't happen from day to night. I had to tell myself that too. I'm still working on some things, you know, because I expected it to happen overnight, and it didn't. But be gentle with yourself. So yeah, someone said it, the thoughts, feelings, and actions triangle. There you go. That's yeah, thank you. So that exactly is what helps.
Love it. CBT is my friend. Cognitive behavior. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see. Someone asked, how do you manage your mental health while engaging with this work and helping others with their mental health? Like, how do you prioritize yourself?
So this also took a while to develop. I learned that in the Blues Project as well, because of the work that we were doing there. I had to, you have to take an hour for yourself every day. So I try to wake up at 5 a.m. So yeah, you would really need to, and know your body, know when you need food, when you need water, like right now. but just in general, try to know your surroundings, and surround yourself with people who are going to call you out on like, you need some time for yourself. So again, take 1 hour out of your day if you can, 30 minutes, 10 seconds, 10 minutes, to really either meditate or just drive, listen to music. That's what I had to do, because you can get drained. It does get a little overwhelming sometimes. I don't know. What about you? What do you do?
Oh, I like to sing in the car.
Yeah.
Like blast Disney songs. That helps me. But let's see. Okay, Carla had a great question, which I pinned down. Can you talk about the lack of shortage of bilingual medical services?
So, yes, I think earlier I wanted to mention historical trauma for a little bit, and I'm still learning on my own, you know, kind of what it entails. But I think with historical trauma comes the distrust of different cultures, right? And so I don't think we see enough people of color in the mental health community. It took me a while. It took me like 5 therapists to find one that matched my culture, matched my personality. And that's another thing. If you're new to therapy, it's kind of like dating. So, but yeah. So again, I think as a person who was raised in primarily diverse, Spanish speaking Latino community, I'm seeing more and more of us in that social work, right? And so it's great. So there's hope. We are gently approaching that, where there's more people of color in the mental health and the medical field, because I know in the medical field there's also a big lack thereof of, you know, mental health. So I think what was I saying? Yeah, I think it's obvious that we need the more support, and I think again the work that everyone is doing around us is awesome, because that's what they're bringing. They're bringing validation to our community, and what they're feeling. So that's kind of my take on the lack of people of color and the connection that we have. And I feel like if we had more Spanish speaking, more bilingual people in the mental health areas, I think it would be easier to access. But like I said, we're working on it one step at a time.
Yes, thank you. I know that's kind of a difficult question to address sometimes because there's so much to unpack.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's all right. We got it.
Yes, okay. And then I'm just gonna add 2 questions from the question box, and then we will wrap up. Okay, so how do you get the courage to advocate to your immediate family and friends? How would one bring about the topic of mental health with them? Ooh.
Okay, so first one, how do you get the courage to advocate to your immediate family and friends? Um, I've always been very outspoken myself. I'm very bold. So in the beginning of when I didn't really recognize myself or the symptoms, it was a little difficult. What I started doing was just subtly telling them, like, this is what's going on, this is what I need, this is what I need from you. This is how do you get the courage to advocate to your media? Yeah, so how to, you know, to tell them, hey, mental health, it matters. Like I said, I have family that like does, you know, different areas, and being like, hey, you're right, like women need to be empowered, but let's see how we can help their mental health to do that. And just like sharing with them, being more how did you say, conversational rather than talking to them. I talk with them, right? So it's like, what's important to you, and this is what's important to me, and this is why. That's kind of how I advocate. And sometimes I just start advocating randomly, and then they just have to listen to me because they're stuck with me in the car or something. Or on a hike, they can't escape. We're gonna be together. The second question, what was, I can't read that.
Oh, then the follow-up to that was, how would one bring about the topic of mental health with, like, I'm assuming like the close people in your life?
What I started doing was telling them I'm not feeling well. I tried to be upfront with some of them, like, this is what I'm dealing with right now, and it was too much for them, right? In my experience, and they ran away. It's all right. Like, you got to deal with what you got to deal with, right? So what I started doing was being a little bit more subtle, being more like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, gently, you know, like just quietly leaving little hints, leaving subtle hints as to, hey, this is what I'm going to, you know. When I started talking to my friends about therapy, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go see a therapist. You know, like, I just need a little bit of support here and there. So that's kind of what I started doing. Just again, more conversationally, and where they couldn't run from me. So I don't know. I know I pinned people. They were like, what? What's going on? Or my mom also advocated for me a little bit too. There was that little push from her, and getting her to advocate for me was a huge deal for me. It was a huge deal because it's all around a taboo topic in our culture. So getting her to advocate for me was a big way and telling her my needs and why I needed this, and being more upfront. I feel like I'm saying it like it's super easy or something, and I know that everyone takes their time, so don't push yourself to get to this point. Yeah. Just don't push yourself, because if you can't, it's I don't know. I just don't want anybody to push themselves to the point where, you know, I've done it too before, where I pushed myself and it didn't work out. So just do it when you're ready. Just do it at your own time.
Yeah, it's especially in our society where there's so much pressure and feeling rushed and like social comparison.
Hmm.
I think that's such an important reminder that we all have our own timeline, we all have our own journey, and but we
Yeah.
could still co-voyage with each other. Like I don't have to know exactly what you've been through and vice versa, but we can still
Yeah.
walk together. And
Exactly.
how is anyone supposed to find that advocate and ally if they're keeping it to themselves?
Yeah.
So that's just why it's beautiful to see these topics and conversations being swept back from under the rug, like
Yeah.
all of that, like, oh, don't talk about that, and we
Yeah.
share.
Yeah.
It's so empowering. And yeah, sorry, what were you
No,
gonna
it's okay. Oh no, 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 you're fine. No, you're perfect. It was spot on. I was just like, amen. Like,
say?
keep going, keep going.
Oh my gosh, IG Live is like, woo, like all the chats going and like trying to listen to you and the hearts. It's just amazing.
No,
As
bye.
we close, is there any last message that you would like to share?
Whew. Um, there is one quote, and I have it in my bio. It's let me radiate only love, only light, only healing. And as I'm growing, I'm learning to tell myself that, you know, and it's okay if you can't all the time, but try to like just push that out there to remind yourself and do it for yourself. Forgive for yourself, heal for yourself. Um, you are your priority because you can't pour from an empty cup. So that's it.
Can you repeat the quote one more time?
Yes. Let me radiate only love, only light, only healing.
Mm. Oh, oh, yes.
You're so sweet.
That is my wish for everyone on this Instagram live, that we can apply that for ourselves, and when we're in the dark that we can be each other's light, even if we don't know each other, like especially during this pandemic when
Yes.
it's so virtual and it can be really isolating, but we are here. So thank you all for coming. Please DM us, reach out, let's connect, let's be friends. And Yasmin, Santana, thank you for your
No,
courage
thank you.
and your genuineness, and love to you all.
No, thank you. Oh, my heart is not with. There you go. All right. Thank you so much, Jesse.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate your time.
Of
Thank you.
course.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you. Take care.